The road that runs between Damascus and Baghdad cuts through 800 kilometers of desert. I'm heading to the Syrian border with Iraq, having offered to make a short film promoting the work of the UNHCR, the United Nations Refugee Agency. I have absolutely no experience of directing or shooting film. On the 3-hour drive from Damascus to the border, I've spent the journey trying to work out how to change the settings on my video camera. This is the Syrian border. Between 2003 and 2008, over 1 million Iraqis fled across into Syria, where they are still living, scattered throughout the country. One group of people who arrived at the border were the Palestinians who had been living in Iraq. For them, the border was as far as they got. The camp is situated in the no man's land between the Syrian and Iraqi borders, a barbed wire fence on one side and the motorway on the other. The Palestinians from Iraq are not permitted to enter Syria. Threatened and attacked in Iraq, they are not able to go back. I am one of the first people to have been given permission to film inside this camp, and I have never been to a refugee camp before. Welcome to Tanf. This man and his family escaped Iraq in 2005. This is the story of how he and his family ended up here in Tanf. Many of the families I spoke to had similar stories. This man told me how his son was murdered by militants in Baghdad after they had tried to return to Iraq in 2007. The centre of the community here is definitely the school. The UNHCR is prevented from erecting any permanent structures, so the tents act as classrooms. But for all the drawbacks of their surroundings, this is a real place of learning. And of play. But the hours that the children are not in school are long, and after 2 children killed on the road already, parents live in fear of their children being hit by trucks. Caring for any children in this place is difficult enough, but for this couple it comes with even greater demands. Their youngest daughter has cerebral palsy and needs physiotherapy every day. They also told me that the girl had been traumatized by shelling during the war and was still suffering the consequences. Let me give you some idea of what living in this desert really means. In the summer, temperatures can reach up to 45 degrees. In winter, it snows and there are regular frosts. The annual rainfall is less than 200 millimetres, but it has a tendency to come all at once, and the desert floods, just like it did last year, resulting in catastrophic flooding which destroyed the camp and many of the few possessions these people possess. And perhaps the inevitable result of naked flames.
اعزلها شباب اعزلها.
There is fire. A pregnant woman was killed in this fire last year. All that remains of the blaze is a gap in the row of tents. The camp is supported almost entirely by the UNHCR, which trucks food, medical supplies, generators for electricity, and, most importantly, water into the camp. Despite the hopelessness, frustration, and endless difficulties of their life here, the residents of Tanf laugh a lot.
ما تحملت الصراحة.
There is a real, tangible sense of community here, of people who have gone through a lot together, and a real unwillingness to give in to the crushing psychological pressure of days and days filled with little to do. This man showed me his vegetable garden and his impressive crop of radishes. And there is the Tanf Media Group. These guys have shot and edited 5 films charting life in the camp. Perhaps most impressively, one of them is a comedy. They shoot on their camera phones and edit on this PC. And no, I'm not really sure how they managed to get an edit suite set up in the middle of the Syrian desert either, but I think it says good things. But for every story I encountered full of laughter and hope, there are always people you meet who may not share that future, the ones that might get left behind. This woman is 95 years old. Tanf is no way to end your life. There is only one real solution for the people of Tanf, and that is resettlement. These are not only people living in nightmarish conditions who cannot survive in this place without constant support, but this is a manageable number of people, and a group who have already proved themselves to be resourceful, willing, and able to make a contribution to a new society. I feel really lucky to have met these people, to have been taught filmmaking by them, to have shared their stories. I came back to the UK with 4 hours of footage of my trip, most of it of dubious quality, and a promise to do what I could so that they don't disappear into obscurity. In Tanf, they will keep filling their days, living their lives, caring for each other, and waiting by the side of the road.